Hi guys, Squad here. Welcome back to another Satisfactory video. Actually, I hope they're more than satisfactory, but haha, that joke's been done many times. Anyway, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to do some reorganization and some upgrading, some scaling, that kind of thing. We really need to get the Logistics Mark III unlocked, which is the thing top right there. We need 25 modular frames, 50 motors, 2,500 coil, 300 cable. Now, the coil and the cable, easy peasy. We're already manufacturing that, and we have bucket loads of it in stock. The motors are a different proposition. We currently are making the rotors, which are these things. In order to make the in order to make the motor, we need a rotor and a stator. As you can see, we can get the, if we need 50 of them, we can get those no problem at all. We've got a stack of 100 there, let's put that back. So we can easily get the rotors, we just need to get the motors to go with it. The motors, the stators are made by, there you go, we need 2 of them. So we need 100, which we've got. We need 2 of them, so we need 100 stators. Now, stators are made by taking these things. We need to make 100, so we need 300 steel pipes and a whole bunch of wire to make that. So we're going to need to go and get these things. To make the modular frames, we're going to need a lot of reinforced iron plate and a lot of iron rod. Now, we've got plenty of iron plate being made over here. And the iron rod we can go and grab in a second. Let's just quickly grab one more stack of that. And we should have plenty of iron rods kicking around in here. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we should be able to make a whole bunch of things from that. Go back to the bench and modular frames. There we go. So we need to make 25 of these, so that's no problem at all. Then we'll put some of these rods back, I think, if there's any left. Actually, you know what, let's just make all of them. I'm pretty certain we're going to need them at some point. Now, if you remember the space elevator from the last episode, it needs 500 modular frames, so we need to start automating the production of these things. And that's going to be interesting because at the moment we don't really make enough iron products. If you remember, we've got Mark I miners and we've got some things that are making screws and iron plates and all the rest of it, and it's not very well structured. We need to upscale it. We need Mark II miners, but in order to start moving things around at those kind of speeds with Mark II miners, we're going to need Logistics 3, which is why we're trying to work on Logistics 3 to get the very fast belt. What we'll then do is build a whole bunch more smelters, upgrade the miners to Mark II, and we need to reevaluate our iron plate, iron bar and screw production and make it a lot better than what it is. At that point, we can then start to accommodate building frames and motors and all the rest of it. In order to build the stators automatically, which are these things, we're going to have a bit of a problem because the wire is at the north side of the factory. The steel pipes are over on the east side of the factory. We just made them last time. And the actual combination requires the rotors, which, as we just saw, is here. So we're going to have a bit of a logistic problem when we come to move everything around. But what we'll do is we'll focus on that next time. For this time, we're going to unlock Mark III logistics, and we're going to basically redo this lot here. This is all the smelters, the iron bars, the ingots, which are feeding the iron bars, and then onwards to the screws, because we need to be making a lot more screws and a lot more iron bars and a lot more iron plates, and we need to be smelting a lot more iron. Luckily, I left plenty of space here for lots more smelters, so that's going to be the job for this episode. But first, let's work on getting Logistics 3 unlocked. So we need to pop upstairs, I think, and we need to grab ourselves some more of the copper wire. Let's get this way. So much quicker running around with these blades on. So good, man. There's the cable, and the wire is here. Let's see how much we can grab. Let's grab all of those. In fact, we'll grab cables. We need 300 cables. I don't think I've got enough inventory space. Let's see. Yeah, we don't have enough inventory space. Actually, we can get rid of those ingots. We don't need to carry those around. 3 catering ore, we don't need that. Alright, 1. Just chuck that away there. 2, 3. Perfect. Right, let's run down to the hub and we can sacrifice a whole bunch of things already. And then we'll see if we can make any of these motors. Logistics 3 is quite a key unlock, but the ingredients to make the belt for Logistics 3, well, remember when we started making encased, reinforced stuff last time? There's a reason for that. These things, this is what you need for Logistic 3 belt. So just as well we actually started work on that. Let's go into here first and get rid of some of this stock. So we'll drop that in. That's that one done. We'll drop in a bunch of cables. That's that one done. We'll drop in 25 of those. So the only thing we have left are 50 motors. Let's have a look at the motor side of things. Right, so we need to have these things. We need to go and get 300 steel pipes, I think it is. It's a lot of steel pipe. Steel pipe is upstairs. I don't know if we're going to have made 300 by now. It is a pretty slow process, if you remember. But they've been steadily going down the line, so you never know. We'll see what's there. And oh, it's not bad actually. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Quickly set about making 100 stators, and then I'll make the motors. Okay, 50 motors made. Go and sacrifice that. Before we do, I'm just going to quickly see how much of this reinforce. Well, we'll grab that 180. That will allow us to make some Mark III belt once we unlock this, which I have no doubt we're going to need very shortly. We're then going to need to build smelters. We need to grab a bunch of ingredients for that. Oh, that's a long drop. Wow, didn't hurt a bit. Fantastic. 50 motors. Off you go.
Milestone reached. Logistics have improved by the means of a container with increased storage capacity and enhanced conveyor belt efficiency.
Okay, so we've got storage container 3, which you can see takes pipes and encased industrial beams. So it's quite an expensive set of ingredients. I reckon a lot of these things will get rebalanced over the coming months, but for now that's what it takes. Logistics wise, we now have this conveyor Mark III. These aren't affected, they just naturally use whatever speed the belt is on. It's not like Factorio where you have to build, you know, Mark 1 and Mark 2 and Mark 3 versions of these. Like, it just doesn't work that way in this game. It's all about the belt that you use. But as you can see, actually I got it wrong. Mark 3 requires steel beam. Steel beam, I got it wrong. 1 second. Let me just quickly see if we can pick another milestone. Improve combat, that could be useful. Alternative to the modular frame, we don't need that yet. Overclocking the yellow shard. I think there is one in the center of the base that we could grab. Object scanner. Actually, object scanner, the beacon is very useful. This, actually, we only need that when we go exploring. Let's take that one for now. And we'll chuck some of the things in. Actually, we can't put them in yet until the pod returns. Yeah, I grabbed the wrong thing. We need the steel beams, which we are making, but I believe we are not storing. I think we're... Actually, yes, we are storing oh, that's steel ingots. Dang it. Yeah, they're producing the steel beams, which I think we had a very slight surplus, if I remember. Yeah. Okay, we'll probably need to make more of those because they are very, very useful. And for now, we'll put the small stack back and we'll keep this stack here. Okay, right. Let's get to work. So one of the things we're going to need are more of these smelters. Probably going to need like 4 of them. We're going to need 4 of them. We're going to need 2 Mark II miners to replace the Mark 1s. And a whole bunch of other things. Iron rods, wire, we've got portable miners we'll get when we deconstruct the Mark 1 miners. Encased industrial beams we have. Steel pipes we need. Let's grab a few of them. Let's grab a stack of that actually. And we'll go and get some iron rod from downstairs. We'll also need plenty of reinforced iron plate because we're going to be needing to upgrade Mark II belts as well, but we've got all that. So we'll grab some rods out of here. Should do it. So first things we're going to do is we'll replace the Mark 1 miner with the Mark II and get that done. That won't take a second. So we'll grab that. Now that will carry on buffering, which is one of the reasons I like building that, because it lets you do things like this without knocking everything offline kind of thing. Mark 2. Go there. Get it powered up. And then we want to have fast belt, Mark 2 belt. We'll upgrade that. We'll upgrade that. We'll upgrade that. That. And that. So that everything going to the factory is now upgraded to Mark 2 belt. Because this now throws out at 120 a minute, as you can see. So that's quickly going to fill up because everything in the factory is still on Mark 1. That's fine. Same thing over here. We'll get rid of that. And we'll get rid of that. We'll upgrade this to Mark 2. Put that to Mark 2. That. 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 Where's the power cable for this thing? Didn't like it had one. It's obviously sharing that one. Okay, 120 a minute. Job's a good one. Right. So we've now got 2 belts of 120 going in. I'm going to have a smelting array here. Now looking at the smelters can take 30 per minute each. So one of those mines can drive 4 of these smelters, which is quite a lot. So the question is, can we make 8 smelters and drive 2 of these things off it? And the answer is yes, we can. That will be golden. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that onto there. So instead of that going in there, we'll have it just moved over a bit. We'll just put a normal wall back there. So it won't let me. I'd rather it just be coming in here. Just to keep things going for now, we'll just link that up to there. But what I think we'll probably do is turn it and bring it along this back wall here. And then drop it down into like 4 arrays. That one can't go any further that way. So let's set about building our smelter array. We're going to need 8 of them. So we can start... We're not going to need anything else, bring it in here. So we can start pretty much on the far left. Production, smelter. So we'll leave room to drop down and, you know, split off and split off again and all that kind of nonsense that needs to happen. So just leave room for splitters as it comes off the wall there. If we allow driving in around that area, then we probably want to be somewhere about here, I would suggest. And we'll put one in the center. With one gap, one gap, one gap. We're not going to build all 8 in one go, unfortunately, or are we? Yes, we are. Wowzers. Okay, cool. Actually, that isn't quite... There we go. That jumped somehow. So we're safe to put down a power pole. That's... Then link that to that. Okay. 8 smelters. 4 going to be fed off each one. So let's get the conveyor splitter down. So this splitter, it needs to be in between and as close as possible as it will allow me to put it. That. I'm going to need another one. Same over here. That's not correct. That looks right. I think it's very hard to get them exactly the same. But as long as it works, it's fine. Right, so this can be a slow belt. Yeah, you see. So it doesn't like that. Because I've tried to put it to... It's really weird how it's so picky about this stuff. See? Like, one of them's okay, but one of them isn't. If I'd have left a slightly bigger gap between all of these smelters, then it would have probably worked out better. It takes up more space, but then it just seems to... It takes up more left to right space, but in terms of forward to back space, it saves because I can put the splitter a little bit closer, if you see what I mean. So let's just do it again, but we'll lay it from here. Like that. So we'll start like that. But instead of leaving one gap, I'm going to leave two gaps. 1, 2. Game definitely needs planning tools. Is that 8? The only problem with that is we can't get through that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hang on, I built too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't want 10. So now at least it allows us to put the power pole right in between. So maybe that's actually a nicer design. Just it uses a bit more space, but it leads to a slightly nicer layout. Personal preferences. Right, we'll attach to the left. It does mean, of course, that if we build machines in front of this, they can easily chain off all these power poles, which is, again, a nice design. And then one. Okay. I won't connect that to the grid yet. We'll leave that there. There's no point. So now we can come along with logistics splitters, and we can put that pretty much. And this is what I was meaning. We can get really close with this thing now, I reckon. Maybe if we come back one like that. Yeah, look. I mean, that's... Like I was saying, it leaves more gap this way, but it's really compact this way now. Really compact. We should be able to line these up now. A bit more easily. Because we can just stand in front of the power pole and get the yellow... Sorry, the green line. These should all... I only wish, I really, well, I hope they bring this in. They really need to. Like, this kind of pattern that I'm building here, I just want to blueprint that now. Like, the two power poles, the two smelters, the splitter, I just want to go, give me that as a blueprint and let me go boom, boom, boom. Just lay it all out. That is what we need in this game now. Okay, so now we just need these splitters into that thing. So I'll just basically line up here. And it's going to be pretty much where that power pole is, so probably about, I would suggest, get away with that, we think. Might be a bit close, but we'll see. No, it's surprisingly happy with that. So that will feed that. And we'll have another one feeding these two. So why is it not lining up with that yet? There we go. Right in front of the power pole. Do you know, I like that design. Leaving a 2 gap between the smelters leads to a very, very balanced, elegant looking splitter array. So that really works for me. I like that. Right then. So we just need to get that thing over here now. So we'll get rid of that one. And we'll take the wall piece, put that one to like that. And we want to come all the way along here. That can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably about there, I would suggest. And then it can just turn down, but just to guide it in, we'll just put a little pole here. Now this is going to be a fast belt. It's going to be a Mark II belt, sorry. And so that's going to come in at 120. That will then split 60 each way. So a Mark I belt here is fine because that can carry 60. That allows us to fit nicely under here. So Mark II belt over there. And then all we need to do is get that one into there, which is easier said than done. In many respects, it would have been much nicer if this was coming in over here. We could sacrifice the ramp to do it. We have got staircases now. Do we need to drive up there? Maybe we just get rid of this and punch through. Maybe that's going to be the easiest solution. And then, yeah, I think we'll do that. Is that going to help us? I'm not sure if that's going to help us, to be honest. Actually, it will, if we're clever about it. So I'm just trying to think how we're going to do this, because the problem is if we start routing that one around here, we can only have one running along this wall. I don't really want to run a belt so low, because when it gets to these things, we have to run straight over the doorway. So we need 2 to run along here, but we can't run 2 with those things. We can only run 1. So the question becomes, well, we could just double stack it. We could just use these things instead, right instead of the wall connectors, which seems a bit of a shame. Or I was thinking, can we run 1 inside, 1 outside? Which again is, well, that's doable, because what we can do is run this one on the outside for a bit longer. One in, 1 out. Yeah, as long as we alternate, it'll be fine. I know what I mean. I'll show you now. So we go. The trouble is with these though is then the style is broken. Look, the style of the wall tile is like different. I don't think it's necessarily the case with that one so much. That one looks a lot better in that sense. And then on the inside here, because we can get rid of that, you see, and run one like this. So as long as we alternate, it's fine. And then we can just belt down from there to here. Take the other one a bit further down, then bring it in. So we'll do that. We'll put that like that. That will go into there. That will go into there. These tiles will be replaced. That's going to be the entry point. So we'll get a single conveyor like that. This can go. And then we'll put a normal wall like that. I'll replace all of these, but not during the video. But I will replace all them, but they work better. Otherwise, we're going to have this big X on the outside, and it's just going to look horrible. So with this one, we can get rid of that, get rid of that. And then we'll have that thing. Let's keep that going for now. So that things carry on being made. Now that turns, we probably want to have one like that. Maybe we can get away with one there. Let's just double check that connects. Yeah, it does. So we can just go straight in there, turn it around the corner, route along here. It will go straight past that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think that's gonna... Oh yeah, it would. It is long enough. We don't need any more than that. That's fine. We'll replace that when we're ready. Meanwhile, this one will come into here instead. Put this wall panel back. And it will go straight through there. Actually, what we can do with that one is basically do this. Got to get to there, so we'll just bring it against the wall just to make it look a bit tidier. So that will go into there, and that one will go in like that. And I think that works quite well, actually. Okay, so before we can connect all this up, we need to consider what's going to come out of this thing and how many constructors it's going to go into, etc. For now, I think we can just plumb straight into this lot, just to... Actually, how many of these things need? Need 15 ingots. How many are we going to have coming out of this array? 30 ingots. So one smelter can feed 2 constructors. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we would need 3 of our smelters connected to the existing array just to keep things going. That's pretty easy to split, actually. Very easy to split. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Just to get things going, and then what we're going to do is we're going to redo our constructors. Screw production, but that's a slightly bigger job. For now, let's just put everything back online with our new smelting array. Get rid of this lot. Yeah, I like basically working things out and discussing it with you as we go along, just so that you can kind of see my thought process. I'm not saying I've got it right, but what I don't want to do is just like do a load of stuff and then go, and here's what I did. I kind of feel that doing it this way, you kind of coming along for the ride, as it were, and if you know, you may be learning something, or you may be able to offer suggestions about a better way that I could have done something. Either way, we all win, because we all end up learning. Splitter, so we'll just chuck that into there. Okay. Oh dear. Right, so what we want to do now is take the feed out of 1, 2, 3. So we're going to merge coming out of this thing. So 30 there, 30 per minute there, 30 per minute there leads to 90 a minute, which means fast belt. And again, this is just temporary. we'll just take this. I'll just try and keep this out of the way slightly. So that we've got some more room over there. Just try and steer it a little bit this way. Floor is too steep. You want, mate? Okay, let's put this thing online. Reroute some of these iron ore. It's going to be a fast belt, remember? Let's get rid of that. Fast belt. That's wrong. That is wrong. You shouldn't be there. Okay, that's a Mark II. That's all finished off. And if we've got it right, we should have Mark II all the way down here. That should all flow through, fire up, and connect the power to the grid. Where's our incoming power? This was our incoming power. Wasn't there a thing here? Yeah, I thought so. Right, so we'll just put a power pole there for now. That should sort that out. Now, if all that's working, and I do hope it is, I should start to see things flowing quite nicely off here. Something's broken. Something's definitely broken. I know what it is. Another reason for blueprints, you can actually have these in the blueprint as well. I'll do these two, even though they're not being used. I'll do them, because otherwise I will forget later. Okay, something's not connected. I know what it is. I forgot about that one. Whoops. Okay. Alright, it's flowing. It should all start kicking off now, which means we can get rid of, while that's happening, we can get rid of all these things. And we're going to have a rather nice iron smelting array, which is producing twice as much stuff as the previous one. I'm leaving boxes everywhere. I must have a full... Yeah, I've got a completely full backpack. Let's see. It's mostly iron ore. I don't need one cable. We'll leave the iron ore. We'll grab that instead. Oh, well, let me put things into it. That's interesting. That's pretty interesting. Okay. My usual trick is to just build one of these things. Take all these things out. Once you're looting and it runs out of space, it just starts throwing things into boxes, but I didn't realise you couldn't actually put stuff in the boxes. The game can, but we're not allowed to. Alright, so what we can do is take some of this iron ore and try load it up into these machines. They're not already fully loaded. All that. And then we'll do a quick check, and I think that should be everything online. okay. I mean, it is feeding those two smelters, but they're not actually pumping out anywhere. So be it. Doesn't matter. Now, if we got our sums right, this should be cranking up to 100% efficiency. Actually, it might not because it might have a full output. But it should be getting, yeah, it's got 51 loaded and it needs 15. So if it's got a surplus, it's fine. That looks fine to me. So that's pretty cool. One of the things I wish was in this game, you see how there's all this smoke coming out the smelters? If you've contained yourself in a factory like this, that's just pretty awful. I hope they add the ability to vent smoke away. In fact, I hope they make you do it. Because if you put yourself in a factory with those kind of exhausts, it's going to smoke up in here pretty fast. There should be like ducting, and you have to duct it out to the wall and chuck it out the factory. That would be a cool thing to have. So now we've got 8 smelters, 6 are currently operational. Mark II miners, tons more ingots in production. The next thing we need to do, and this is going to take a little bit of work, is the iron rod production feeding into the screw production. The way iron rods are made, and the way screws are made, and the way they're all piped into these assemblies here this is way too kind of complex and messy. I don't like this at all. What I want to do is take all of these constructors and basically push them all into a line here, and then basically have everything bust out onto a bus, and the bus will I showed you the bus last time. The bus will basically like run down here. This is a space I'm going to use for the bus. So what will happen is something like this, go like that, and we'll have up to 6 belts of things going down here, which will have iron rods, screws, that kind of thing. And then these assemblers here, they'll be able to take iron plates, screws, and that will be able to get iron rods and screws, and they can just get them off the bus that's passing straight through, do their magic and create the end result, put it back on the bus, carry on, next stage. And that's how we're going to start automating the motors and the rotors and the stators and all that kind of thing. So we're going to move to kind of a bus operation now. And this is another reason why I left all this space, was just so that we could refactor things, because you do need to refactor things as you get new tech, new ideas and new requirements. But it'll come together. Constructors, we've got plenty of space for constructors here. We'll just probably pipe out the iron that way and then build it all, send it all back this way, something like that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the series. That's all I can do in this episode. So the next one, we're going to be doing all this construction stuff and really getting our kind of iron production, steel production online properly. Take care, guys. Happy manufacturing.